Hello guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my Help with Harrz series where I review viewers and subscribers gameplays and give them a little bit of hints. The viewer we've got here is a Gold 2 player. In the gameplay it's Gold 2. I have skipped ahead of the gameplay because I always check it for like profanities and I don't really want a gameplay where someone's shredding, but they do in fact lose this game, so it's going to be a really nice one to pick out little details on which they could have done to improve their chances of winning the game. So if you're here, you're trying to win more games, this video is going to be for you. So yeah, let's read this form. We're going to look at the gameplay and then going to be looking at the good, the bad, and what I see as the potential rank for this gentleman. So, hi, I'm Mauro, 30 years old. I played COD since COD 4, but always played hardcore mode. Never played hardpoint and control. In this COD, started to play core and learn it because it's totally different. Really enjoyed rank play, always trying to get better by watching videos on YouTube and practicing. So the focus, I would say, is nothing in specifically, but everything in general. Thank you. Cheers from Portugal. So first off, thank you, Mauro, for submitting your gameplay. I didn't know I had a fan in Portugal, so that's lovely to hear. 30 years old, playing COD since COD 4. Same here. My first multiplayer COD was COD 4. I played a little bit of COD 3, but yeah, you've been playing COD for 16 odd years, mainly pubs. It's going to be interesting to see how you fare in rank play here. As I say, Gold 2 is the rank we're going to be looking at here. They're playing on a Series X or a PS5, so new gen. Settings are all good. Playing on a normal PS5 controller, but they've been trying to learn claw for 3 weeks now, and they used to play with paddle, so it's going to be interesting to see whether that has hindered them at all. And then they want just to help on hardpoint in general because it's a mode he's only just played this year, and every time the match is hardpoint, they're stressed out. So I can understand hardpoint may be super frantic, and you know, if you're new to it, it's chaotic. It can be chaotic, learning spawns and things like that. So you know what? Good. Glad to hear this. Let's get into the gameplay. So we start with an embassy hardpoint here, using the fast tack class, I believe. I like this route. This is a good route. You're trying to catch someone off guard, pushing tennis here. You may be a little bit late to that push. If you chelled the ladder, perhaps that would have been a little bit better. Yeah, I like this. This is good. Got good support from bridge. You're keeping the hardpoint white. That's the main focus of this hill. Keeping the hardpoint white, and you're playing your life really well. What I am noticing, and this is probably coming from your hardcore days, is that your centering is bang on. Now, I know I've played hardcore a little bit trying to do cameras and things like that. If your centering is not good, you will just die all the bloody time. So yeah, that's good to see. That's a big plus in my books. Now, what's interesting here is you're pushing P1. Even if you get this guy off P1, or you get to this point at P1, you've got 5 seconds there. What we would like to have seen instead is to rotate back and get a really good stronghold position at P2 and guarantee a good hold at P2. Your teammates at gas, that's a good spot. And you sort of got 2 people sat on the hill here. I would like to have seen you set behind these trucks, maybe just hold this back area, and then you'd have pretty much had an almost perfect setup here. So I think you do go to do that. Yeah, but they're there already. If you'd have rotated earlier, perhaps you'd have been better off. I mean, you probably would have been better off. So yeah, you're probably going to lose a good chunk of 30 seconds there just because you tried to play for 10 seconds. So when you're playing with ARs and you're heavily AR dominant, this is not the spawn you want. This isn't great. You're forced to push out of this horrible area, and it means they can be set up in gas, set up a triple van. When you spawn tennis, I would have liked to have seen you wrap round top bridge through to gas and hold gas spawns. It's so much easier to hold a spawn from the gas side of things than it is playing from tree door. But it doesn't matter. You're breaking the hill anyway, and I think you're managing to get the remaining 20 seconds of scrap. So not really fussed about this. They've chowed late, and you've seen them all there. They're all spawning gas, so that's, you know, when you spawn in, that should be where your attention is. Nice, check the back alley, nothing there. I don't mind that. There's nothing wrong with being thorough. Yeah, and as I suspected, they're coming from gas. I like this, drop shotting around the corner. You managed to get a kill. Good use of trophy. Now, I'm interested to see where your teammate spawns in here. This is what you should be looking at. If at any point your teammate spawns in, take a look where they spawn in. So he's just spawned in gas, which means, and you've probably noticed the same thing because you've turned around, but you should know that if they're not spawning gas, they're probably spawning bottom tree door. So this is why you turn in this way. So that's good. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you turn back around to look at bridge, even though you knew the teammate had just spawned there. The spawns aren't that flippy. You'd have probably been better off, you know, watching ladder or watching tennis. I mean, the ladder's a hard thing to read anyway. Okay, this is fine. I don't mind this, but you're losing most of the gunfights in this situation. I would like to have seen you run at top PD to these double windows up here and challenge the point from there. Chances are you would have probably got 1, maybe 2 kills. You'd have been able to throw your nades from a better position. Yeah, that's one thing, actually. I haven't seen you use too many nades there. We've given them a really free 20 seconds, well, 30 seconds there. With no aggression with nades or anything like that. So that's a lot of free time. That's a lot of free time. But it's okay. We're moving on to P4 here. And I think you're still sort of trying to read their gas spawn, but they're not really dying much. So what you're doing works if they're dying, but your teammates aren't getting kills. So what you need to be doing here is trying to reposition and have more of a presence at the new hill. Your teammates just spawned gas, which means they're definitely not in this general area. And at which point you should have probably rotated more to the point. She got a kill. I don't mind that. That's fine. You've deterred them for a second, but again, the setups on the hard points aren't the best. I'm going to say the setups on the hard point aren't the best as they could be, but that's fine. That's why I'm here. I like this chow. This is the best spawn to have, back PD, so I like this position in here. A nice trophy down for the teammate, and you're trying to pull out some support towards tree door. So let's see where your teammate spawns in. So your teammate's just spawned in Narnia, so it means they're pinching both sides for you here. They're pinching halls and this side, so I like this. Realistically, this is probably what you should have done at the very start, or chowed in point watching the halls. So moving on to P5. P5. You pulled out a sub. I like that. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. You can, although it's a hard point in a building, right? There's 3 people down. There's probably 2 around you. I would like to have seen you throw a nade here. Maybe strafe a little bit left, throw a nade in this opening, or a stun, anything. And, I mean, you got a good kill there. Nice, that's unlucky. Use your util. You've got it for a reason. You should just be using it. Your teammates there should be using it. They can only really have maybe 2, maximum 3 trophies here. It's the quickest way to break the hills. It doesn't matter. You got a 3-piece. You're doing it all. Nice 3-piece. I like that. See what we do here. This is really good, impactful play. So a teammate has just died in this general vicinity. I would have liked to have seen you delay their push. Use a nade, use a stun. If you know that they're coming from that direction, it deter them because they don't want to run through a grenade. Worst and the best case scenario is you get a kill with a nade.
Locating the next hard point. Get ready.
Okay. So we're currently 15 points down after the first set of rotations, so it's not terrible. Let's see if we improve this second set of rotations. And again, you've taken the bridge approach. I don't mind that. Although you've got kills here. It's probably expected you were here. You did dominate up here last set of rotations, so they're probably going to expect it a little bit more than they would be last time.
Enemy targets at the hard point.
Nice, 2 kills, playing your life. Perfect. That's really good play. You are lingering a lot up here, so they're gonna, yeah. So you were up there for a long time. You were getting killed up there. You were being annoying up there. What I like to do sometimes, if I find myself that I've been up here a little bit too much, is drop down below the bridge, and then support from, because realistically from there you're just focusing on bathroom and top PD maybe. So you can go below the bridge, even sit in this corner here and just watch the point from that point of view. It doesn't matter. They've given a bridge almost instantly anyway, which means you're able to get one of them off the point. So 10 seconds. Your teammate's doing a really good job of rotating here. But again, you haven't got the most beneficial spawns. I mean, if you're a sub player, this is fine because you can chow the hill at close quarters. But right here, you are challenging, I don't know, maybe 10 head glitches you're looking at here. They could be on any one of them. Whereas if you're on the other side, if you're spawning gas, you know, you're in a good position. So, okay, this is a very vital point here. You've got 3 enemies down, which is huge. That's a huge situation to be in. You're 3 down. You've just spawned in with an AR. This is where you want to push up a bit. This is where you want to avert some map control. But yeah, you've pulled back. You've given them a little bit of map control. I don't mind this too much. What I would have liked to see, if I'm honest, is when you spawn in, you run to Palms, you know, the Palm Heady sort of mid-map area, which is just where this guy is, and watch the cross. Watch the cross from Palms, and from there you'd been able to pick a couple people off. I don't mind this. It's not what I would have done. But yeah, I think with 3 down, they're spawning in a similar time as you. Run to mid, hold the cut across the whole map, and you should be able to get some damage out and maybe a couple of kills. Perfect. This is good. Yes, you're going to be 40 points down by the time that this new hill pops, but hopefully with a good setup, which hopefully you should have, you're going to be 60 points off this, and then essentially break even maybe by the time this hill pops. Not this hill ends, sorry. So nice. You're reading them coming from gas because that's where P2 was. I completely understand that. Yeah, that's rough. So I think I know why you turned. So teammate died over there. You were checking to where they died from. Your teammate, you've got to rely on your teammate being, you know, covering your bridge, covering your entry here, covering here. People chilling out of top orange aren't going to be looking for you. They're going to be looking for someone on the point. So yeah, I'd have trusted your teammate to get this and then focus on where you were. You had the good insight, good game sense there, but you just didn't. I don't think you trusted yourself well enough. You spawn gas. This is actually probably the better spawn to have. And that's 3 down. Last person's on the point. I want to see your teammates rush this. You're doing as much as you can. Yep, don't mind that. A little bit scrappy, but hey, not bad. Okay. You just got this kill. You know your teammate's bridge. You're sat in a very obvious corner here. This is where everyone's going to check, but I get it. It's a safe space. It's fine. I don't mind that. Your teammate's on your left. I'm not sure why you're centering here. I get it. You don't want to take on any gunfights at this point, but you may as well center somewhere where they could be. So you may as well center ladder. You may as well center top orange. And as a result, you've been picked off. Yeah, if I'm honest, you probably wouldn't have killed them in any way, but you'd have been able to get them weak enough, you know, to do something about it. So right there, your teammate's broken the hill. Your teammate's top PD, sorry, and he's managed to get the person off the hill. That's what I'd have liked to have seen you do the first set of rotations here. So there's 3 down. This hill is still active. The two main spawn points, if I'm bringing it down to the most simple terms, when this hit the current hill, not this new hill, the current hill is popped, is this area where you are, or back gas. So you're almost sort of blocking this area here. Your teammates are all here. So they're going to be spawning. The people that have just died, and anyone that you've killed pretty much within the last 10 seconds will have spawned gas. They'll have spawned milk, whatever you guys want to call that. So they're not really going to be pushing from this side. So you're not being as influential to the game as you could be here. You could have put a little bit of pressure on. I mean, you could have stayed out there as well. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, they're not going to be coming from this direction. You're a bit out of the gunplay, a little bit here. A very slow push. So whenever there's doors closed to a hard point and you want to see inside, open the doors, back up, and take a different channel, because people are going to be looking here. You approach this very slow. You're literally stood in a doorway. If they came from there, they're probably going to check this, and you're probably going to die, especially considering they're going to have subs. So yeah, I'd have liked to have seen you read the spawns a little bit better there. But yeah, you need a little bit more impactful, I think, in the rotations.
We've lost the lead.
So again, they're getting a lot of scrap time here.
Enemy targets at the hard point.
But it's not bad. Your whole team seems to be rotating to P5 here. So we're actually in a decent position if your teammates can hold this. Now, what I don't like is how narrow the setup currently is. So we're not taking the chows to them. We're taking the chows on the point, which means if you lose the gunfights around this hill, they're going to get on the hill. The best setup possible on a hard point is to have your chows outside of the hill towards where they're spawning for the best chances of winning the hard point. Because you've instantly be broken there, and I mean, your teammate's doing a stellar job. I can't lie; they've just picked up a dirty 3-piece. But yeah, you don't want to put them. You don't want to put them in that situation here. Nice little dive there. Yeah, I'd have liked to have seen you push out a little bit further rather than taking the gunfights on the point.
The lead is ours.
Nice. You're nice with the MP7, by the way. I'm not sure whether you prefer to use an SMG or an AR, but you're nice with the MP7.
The enemy has the lead. We're losing ground.
So I'm liking this. I'm liking the flex, and this is a big plus in my books as well.
Hardpoint relocating.
That's tough. He just chowed out. That's a decent play from him. I mean, even if you read that, you'd have lost that in an MP7. Okay. So they need 25 seconds on the hill to win. You need 44. Okay, so this is a very tense situation. They pretty much need half of your next, the points you score next to win. I don't know how you've died. I don't even know where this guy is.
Secure the target area.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't see him. Where is he? He was there. Okay, I didn't see him. What can you do about that? Okay. So your whole team's down. There's 12 seconds left. Use your nades. Use your nades, please. Throw a nade. Yeah, that's rough. Okay, so I imagine that's game. Yeah, so... yeah, that's game. You didn't play terribly. Oh, I just want to preface this. There's a lot to work on, but there's a lot you're doing really well. So yeah, you lost this. I just want to have a look at the final stat line before we go into the good, what could be improved on, and your potential. Okay, so I know stats aren't everything, but you were let down a bit by this teammate here. I'll get he had a decent amount of hill time. He had more than you, but he's dying twice as much as he's getting kills. So that's not great. So yeah, that's probably part of the reason you lost. So let's summarize a couple of things here. So the good. What do I like about your gameplay? So your centering is bang on. As I said previously, it probably comes from your hardcore days. Your center is bang on. You've got decent shots as well. You're not missing many. There's a couple of situations where your gunfights are a little bit, oh, hey. But generally speaking, your gunfights are decent. You win most of the one-on-ones. Your positioning sometimes is good. Your positioning sometimes is good. You can be, you're good at being somewhat unpredictable. When you jump to the AC on P3, that was good. This position I didn't like. What you're seeing in the gameplay right now, I wasn't a fan of that. Yeah, and you're pre-aiming. That's another thing. You're pre-aiming a lot, and that's half the gunfight. If you're already aimed somewhere and someone appears there, you're winning that chow most of the time, as long as your shots aren't horrendous. But yeah, you're good at pre-aiming. You're good centering. It's just, I think, the lack of game sense and lack of spawn knowledge, and not trying to get the right spawns is terrible. So right there, your teammates have spawned, all spawned gas. I would have liked to see a push from the front. But yeah, so that's what I think is good about the gameplay. So as I say, your fundamentals, your actual COD skill is decent. You know what you're doing. You're on the sticks. As I say, you've been on the sticks for 17 odd years, 16 years. You know what you're doing. You know how to shoot a gun. So where do I see improvement, or where do I see potential improvement for you? So I think you lack a little bit of confidence. So you second guess your reads of spawns. So when you're a top P3 and you knew someone was coming bridge, you looked away and then you died from there. So you just need to be a little bit more confident in your spawn reading, for the most part. Yeah, and you're not trying for the best spawns. So I've probably said this a bunch of times in this gameplay, but you want to try to get the spawns that will benefit you the most. That's the be all and end all. You want to be getting the best spawns, and this happened on P2 both times. So P2 was your worst hard point here, your worst hard point, and yeah, it's just because you didn't get spawns. Lack of stuns and nades. So I see this a lot. When I was grinding the solo queue to Iridescent, I saw this a lot at this sort of level of gameplay. Is that people didn't throw their nades and stuns. This is a perfect example of it. There's probably 1 or 2 people on the hard point. Stun nade, they could die. They could get off the hard point, and that'd be your 25 seconds. That could be the difference in this win. So yeah, I'd have liked to have seen you use your utility. It's free damage, it's free info, it's like you don't have to pay for it. You get it every time you respawn. 50% of the time you shouldn't have a stun or a nade in your back pocket when you die. That's maybe even more. Maybe 75% of the time when you die, you shouldn't have your stun and nade in your back pocket. So yeah, I'd like to see more utility use. Get it practiced, get it good, and it will change your gameplay. You will win more games and you will get more kills. So yeah, and then movement. I'm going to put this down to the fact you've been playing on Claw for only 3 weeks. Your movement's not as smooth as it could be. There's a couple of times where you're button bashing. your melee. But yeah, as I say, I'm not going to scrutinize that too much because, you know, you're new to clawing. It's not easy. I can do it. I play with paddles and I rely on them. So yeah. But yeah, as I said, I don't want to. There's a lot of things you can work on, but there's also some really good fundamental COD strengths I think you have. So yeah, I see if you master your shots and center is bang on. Your shots and center are almost perfect. If you focus on learning spawns, getting the correct spawns when you're rotating, and using your utility, I can easily see you getting a high plat low diamond. Easily. It'll be interesting to see if you can, you know, work on what I've said and then, you know, see another gameplay, because I think you do have a lot of potential. But yeah, the biggest thing for me, and it's the most annoying thing when you're playing with someone like this, is just not throwing your nades and stuff. So if there's one thing I want you to work on after this, is just using utility. That's the biggest thing. And then spawns, probably second to that. But yeah, work on that. I think it's a good gameplay. I don't think it's terrible whatsoever. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this has helped you a lot. Let me know if you have any questions. As I say, my DMs on Twitter are open if you want to message me privately, or you can comment on this video. It's completely up to you. That's me for now. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.